All right. Welcome back to the deep dive. We always appreciate you being here with us. On the deep dive, we like to get into the nitty-gritty of what's really driving success, especially in the automotive world. And you're here because you're a true automotive professional. You live and breathe this industry. And like us, you're always on the lookout for that edge. That's something that can really take your dealership's performance to a whole new level.
Absolutely. And I think today's deep dive is going to be particularly insightful for our listeners out there. Dealership leaders, GMs, your sales and marketing teams, everyone's looking for ways to leverage the latest and greatest.
Right. And today we're zeroing in on a concept that's at the heart of what's being called the 30-day AI protocol.
Yeah, that's a powerful framework. The 30-day AI protocol. Transform your dealership and unlock unstoppable growth. It's quite a mouthful. But it's being touted as the most comprehensive AI methodology specifically designed for car dealerships.
And we're not going to cover the whole thing today, right?
No, we're focusing on one of the core principles. How can you harness the natural monthly cycle, that rhythm that's already baked into automotive retail, and amplify it with AI to achieve some truly significant gains?
Yeah, that's the big question, because we're not just talking about incremental improvements here. The whole premise of this protocol is about achieving what they call unstoppable growth.
It's a bold statement, but the ideas are very intriguing. And to dig into this, we're going to be drawing specifically from day 7, the 30-day advantage, which is a key part of this 30-day AI protocol.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. Every dealership, every automotive professional knows this monthly cycle. It's just ingrained in how we operate.
Right, it's like clockwork.
The protocol actually uses a pretty vivid term to describe what happens at the start of a new month, a collective exhale. What does that look like in the real world?
Oh, you can feel it, can't you? That intensity of hitting those month-end targets, it lifts a little. Everyone takes a bit of a breather. Sales floor might be a bit quieter. You often see the marketing team huddled up deep in planning mode for the month ahead, figuring out the new incentives, crafting those campaigns, that sort of thing. Sales boards get wiped clean, ready for a fresh start.
Yeah, it's like that moment of regrouping before the next sprint.
Exactly. It's a natural rhythm.
But then the protocol introduces this contrasting idea, the 30-day advantage. So what's the fundamental difference in mindset here?
Well, instead of that initial lull, think of it as hitting the ground running. Dealerships operating with this 30-day advantage mindset. They're designed to launch into the new month with immediate energy. Day 1, the momentum's already building. Marketing isn't in the planning stages. They're live, generating activity, often powered by automated AI systems. The sales team isn't waiting for leads to trickle in. They're proactively engaging with those prospects identified by AI. It's about seizing the initiative rather than waiting for the month to gain its own momentum, so to speak.
And to make this concrete, the protocol actually shares a story about two competing dealerships, which I thought was a great way to illustrate this. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, this really highlights the contrast. So picture two dealerships in the same market, right? Relatively similar in terms of their teams, their resources, pretty comparable. Both traditionally followed that familiar monthly cycle we were talking about. A slower start, then it builds to the middle of the month, and then you have that final push at the end. It's like a wave. But one of these dealerships decided to embrace the 30-day advantage principles outlined in the protocol. Their goal was to maximize every single day right from the start.
So what were the actual tangible actions that set this dealership apart in those first few days of the month?
The key was immediate execution. While their competitor was still finalizing their marketing plan, maybe still tweaking those ad creatives or incentive offers, the dealership using the 30-day advantage had already launched. I mean, think about it. Their AI-powered systems were working in the background. They had campaigns ready to go, triggered to launch automatically. While the other dealership sales team was easing back in, this dealership salespeople were already working those AI-identified leads, scheduling those early appointments.
So it seems like a subtle difference, right? Maybe a day or two head start.
That's what's so interesting, though. The protocol really stresses the outsized impact of that early proactive engagement, even if it seems like a small difference.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about grabbing a few extra sales in the first week. This idea of a compounding effect that the protocol talks about, that's what really caught my attention. How does that initial advantage keep building throughout the month?
Well, that's where the power of this 30-day advantage, especially when it's coupled with AI, as this protocol emphasizes, really shines. That early activity, it creates a positive feedback loop. Those early appointments, and remember, they're often more qualified because AI is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of lead scoring and prioritizing. Those appointments convert into sales faster. And those early sales do more than just boost revenue right away. There's a psychological element here. The sales team feels that sense of progress, of accomplishment. Their confidence goes up.
So everyone's energized.
Exactly. And that energy translates into even more proactive engagement. They're reaching out with more enthusiasm, setting more appointments, and the cycle just keeps feeding itself. More opportunities ultimately lead to more sales, and the momentum just keeps building throughout the month.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, it's not just linear growth. You're seeing an accelerating trend in performance.
And the results that the protocol cites for this dealership, they were pretty impressive. Can you break down some of those key numbers for us?
Yeah, the data is really compelling. The dealership that implemented this 30-day advantage approach saw almost double the leads. That's huge. Throughout the entire month, they generated nearly twice as many leads compared to their past performance. And their appointment numbers, those surged by over 60%. But here's what I think is especially important. Their show rates for those appointments were way higher.
So not just more appointments, but better appointments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That tells you that the AI is doing a good job at identifying and nurturing those truly qualified leads. Sales, of course, went up. I think it was a 53% jump, which is impressive in itself.
Okay.
For dealership, maintaining profitability during growth is crucial, right?
Hmm.
And this dealership actually maintained a strong gross profit per vehicle.
That's the key. It's not just about selling more cars, it's about selling them profitably.
Right, that's where the real sustainability comes in. And, beyond the numbers, what I think is really interesting is the impact this had on the dealership team itself. The protocol mentions that their internal surveys showed dramatically higher morale scores.
That makes sense when you think about it. Everyone's feeling the positive reinforcement of those early wins, and that momentum carries throughout the month.
And you might think that this faster pace would lead to more burnout, but actually they reported significantly reduced burnout. And then from an operational standpoint, that crazy month-end scramble that dealerships often face, they practically eliminated it, and their overtime hours were way down.
So greater efficiency, a more consistent pace, it seems like a win-win all around. But we've talked about the 30-day advantage in a general sense. What the protocol really emphasizes is why this approach is so powerful, maybe even essential, in what they call the AI era of automotive. What's the synergy here between this monthly rhythm and artificial intelligence?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, how do I actually apply this in my dealership? AI acts as a multiplier for the 30-day advantage.
Yeah.
AI operates at a speed and scale that's just not humanly possible. But AI is not a set-it-and-forget-it solution. It needs direction. It needs well-defined processes. And it needs a constant flow of data to do its magic. And the 30-day advantage provides that framework. It gives the AI that early momentum, allowing it to hit the ground running from the very start of the month.
So it's like setting up your AI for success right out of the gate.
Absolutely. And then it can really take off from there.
Can you give us some specific examples, some practical takeaways of how AI can actually amplify those results from day one within the context of this protocol?
Sure. Let's paint a picture here. Day one. Imagine a traditional dealership. Maybe they're having those planning meetings, setting goals, finalizing budgets, all that. But a dealership that's embraced the protocol and integrated AI, their AI-powered CRM is already working. It's analyzing last month's data, it's identifying those high-potential leads, and it's automatically starting those personalized outreach campaigns. Day two, other dealerships are just launching their marketing, but the AI-driven platforms are already optimizing ad spend based on real-time engagement data, making sure every marketing dollar is working as hard as it can.
So AI is already making adjustments and improvements.
Exactly. And by day three, those automated AI workflows for lead follow-up, for appointment reminders, even for those initial virtual customer interactions, those are all humming along, nurturing prospects, while your team focuses on those higher value conversations, those more complex deals. And by day four, you could already see that separation. The dealership leveraging the protocol and AI has a significant lead in terms of engagement, qualified leads, and opportunities compared to those still playing catch-up.
So AI is not just working faster, it's working smarter right from the get-go. But the protocol also emphasizes that it's not enough to just tell everyone, okay, let's speed things up. There's this critical element of having systems in place, right?
That's a key point. You can't just tell your team and your AI tools to go into overdrive and expect everything to magically fall into place. The 30-day advantage, as it's laid out in the protocol, it depends on having robust automated systems that are already prepped and ready to go.
So what kinds of systems are we talking about here?
Well, think about your marketing. You want pre-programmed campaign launches that don't require manual setup at the start of every month. Your lead generation. That needs to be consistent, AI-driven, always running in the background. Appointment booking. It has to be efficient, seamless, ideally integrated with your CRM, and often AI can play a big role there. And you need constant performance tracking. AI-powered data analytics is critical for giving you those real-time insights so you can adjust as you go. And then the ongoing optimization of all these processes informed by that early data, that's how you ensure that the initial momentum not only continues but actually grows throughout the month.
It sounds like all these elements are designed to work together like a well-oiled machine.
That's a good analogy. And that's what the protocol refers to as a perpetual motion machine. It's not just about a one-month burst. It's about establishing a system where each monthly cycle builds on the last, becoming more efficient and effective over time.
So you start strong, and that fuels even stronger performance down the road.
Precisely. The data and insights from those first few days, amplified by AI's capabilities, those inform and optimize the entire month. And those strong results, they provide even better data and even more momentum for the following month. It's a continuous cycle of improvement and growth.
It's a pretty compelling vision. So for you, the automotive professional out there who's listening, the message from this part of the 30-day AI protocol is pretty clear. Aligning your strategies with that natural 30-day cycle and putting systems in place to start strong, right, from day one, that's a fundamental key to achieving significant, lasting growth.
And it's important to emphasize that this isn't just about working harder at the beginning, it's about working smarter. It's about strategically leveraging AI and having those systems in place so that you can hit the ground running and never lose that momentum.
And it's a journey, right? Because the 30-day advantage is just one piece of the puzzle. The protocol actually gives us a glimpse into where we'll be heading next. It stresses the importance of mapping and optimizing the entire customer journey, recognizing that buying a car these days, it's not a snap decision. The protocol actually points out that this process often takes well over 100 days.
Absolutely. And what we've been talking about today, this 30-day advantage, it sets the foundation for more effective engagement throughout that entire customer journey. By maximizing your impact in those initial days of the month, you're creating more opportunities, better opportunities to connect with potential buyers
Yeah.
and really guide them through their decision-making process.
It's about playing the long game.
Exactly. And ultimately, that leads to more consistent, more predictable sales.
All right, so as we wrap up, we really encourage you to take these insights to heart. Think about how you can apply the principles of the 30-day advantage, powered by AI, within your own dealership.
And I would even challenge everyone listening to ask themselves, what's one specific change, even a small one, that I could make at the beginning of next month to build that momentum? And how can I use my existing AI tools, or maybe explore new ones, to really amplify those efforts right from day one?
It's about moving away from that traditional slow start and building an engine for growth that never really stops, and that's something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll be back soon to explore more strategies and insights that can truly transform your automotive business.